Alright, what's up guys? NinjaDeathStrike here, bringing you some more Pokemon Showdown battles. Our last week in Ubers, most likely. This is the last video I have backed up, so I will have to record some more, and we'll see what tier I feel like playing. Probably won't stay in Ubers, but there's always a chance. Anyhow, looking at the teams, we have fairly similar teams. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon in common. Would have been 5 had I kept Yveltal, but I have switched him for Groudon. So, yeah, his team is basically my team. He has Lugia, who is extremely powerful wall, basically the only wall in Ubers. Everything else just can't stand up to the power level of these Pokemon, but thanks to Marvel Scale, or Multi-Scale, Lugia can, because it just doesn't take damage. So it makes a very effective wall. And everything else is super offensive, which is pretty standard, so there's not a whole lot to say about the team matchup here. It's going to be probably down to who can get the most advantageous switches. Getting a free switch in here could really swing the match, so we're going to have to keep an eye out for opportunities to do that, and we're going to have to see what form his Arceus takes. Let's go ahead and get into the match. I'm just going to lead with Sin, the Kyogre. Figure I'm going to get a solid hit in or something. He must smell that. He switches Mewtwo out of that. Lugia takes nothing from that attack. I do predict the Toxic here as I switch into Steel Form Arceus. He's going to roost up and then switch out, which is great for me. It means I get a free chance to attack, and now Yveltal's dead. So that's nice. Double attack, full health. His Kyogre comes in here, goes for Scald, which is interesting. I guess he has a very defensive Kyogre, however, it's not going to stand up to a +2 Earthquake combined with Extreme Speed. Mewtwo comes in here. I know that it can kill me, so I'm just going to get some damage in, and it does a lot of damage, over 60%, leaving Mewtwo pretty hurt. Ice Beam, I was not expecting that. As I go into the new team member, Stronghold the Groudon, you'll see that I did switch rocks onto Groudon rather than Mamoswine, because I just didn't get an opportunity to set them up with Mamoswine. So Groudon's basically impossible to kill in one hit. I'm able to set up my rocks here, and then he dies, which is fine. All I wanted was the rocks up. His Arceus comes in, it survives an attack, and then kills me with Extreme Speed, which hurts a lot. I do catch him off guard here, though, as he doesn't go for Extreme Speed against Dozer. I'm going to be able to sneak in an Ice Shard and take him out that way, which is really good. That thing could have probably swept my team if he had gone for Extreme Speed there. I don't think Dozer survives that hit. He's going to get very greedy here, tries to set up a Geomancy with Xerneas as I just hit him with an Earthquake, then take him out with an Ice Shard. Leaves only Lugia left. Multi-Scale is not going to be in effect as he has to switch in Stealth Rock, so he goes for Toxic here, which is annoying, but I should be able to fight through this. He's probably going to Roost here, but I'm actually faster than him, which is surprising. I guess he's not running any speed investment. That is going to allow me to go for the Icicle Crash instead of the Ice Shard, and that's going to be enough to take him out. So that was the match. Able to capitalize on a misplay from my opponent, and then just trade 1 for 1 basically. Since I was in the lead, I was able to keep ahead. That's pretty much how Ubers works. Let's go to the second match. So, second match, my opponent has a sand team, which is interesting. You do not see a whole lot of weather. I mean, you see, a ton of Kyogre and such, but their team is not generally built around them like it was in past iterations of Ubers, just because you don't have the perma weather. But this is a full-on sand team. He has both of the Sandstream users with Tyranitar and Hippowdon, and then all of his guys are sand resistant. So this is going to be an interesting match. These types of synergistic teams can really catch regular teams like mine off guard, because they just work so well together, but they do tend to be fairly fragile, and if you can take out a couple of the key pieces, they kind of just fall apart. So it will be an interesting match to see how that happens. I'm going to lead with Groudon, figuring that he's probably going to start with a sand user, but he doesn't. He leads with Mamoswine, and I'm going to go for the Hammer Arm here instead of setting up Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks in this match, potentially important, but maybe not quite. Unfortunately, I'm going to get screwed by damage calc a little bit here, as I'm going to take 55% off of that second Ice Shard, where I thought I would be able to survive it. Turns out that's not the case. In any case, I'm going to switch in Kyogre here to get rid of the sand. I know that Tyranitar is going to come in, so I'm just going to try and hit it with a Surf. It does not much damage. Tyranitar's special defense in the sand is base 150, or the equivalent thereof, so unsurprisingly that does very little damage. I can switch into Steel Form Arceus here and set up an attack. He switches into Aegislash, gets the boost from the weakness policy, and then again I get screwed over by damage calcs, and I leave him at 2%, and he kills my Arceus. So one of my best checks to his team is dead. Not super fantastic. Excadrill comes in here. He's going to set up a Swords Dance. That's cute. I don't care. Excadrill is dead, so that's nice. Tyranitar, of course, comes back in. Luckily this time I don't have to take the sand damage. And I don't predict him to go for a dark attack here, so I actually get a switch into Mal the Mewtwo fairly freely. I take about 25% damage, but all things considered, that's not so bad. Lucario does not have a Sash, thankfully, so he's dead. Hippowdon comes in. Hippowdon doesn't worry me too much. I can use Sin here as a switch fodder, get one more switch into the Rain. It's going to force him to go back into Tyranitar to set up the sand, and that lets me bring in Mewtwo to take out Tyranitar. He is going to have the weather in his favor for the rest of this match, but I've effectively neutered everything that cares about that. The only real guy he has left is Mamoswine, who doesn't directly benefit from the sand. So Hippowdon comes in here. I'm just going to leave Mal in to do as much damage as he can. Decent hit with the Psystrike, about 40%, but I do have Dozer and Xerneas in reserve, so I'm not worried about being able to just finish off one of his support Pokemon. Actually get the flinch there on the Icicle Shard, and that's going to do it. So basically, like I said, taking out the key pieces of his team, left him with a bunch of guys that didn't really do a whole lot. Once Lucario and Excadrill went down, the sand didn't really matter a whole lot. And that's going to be the match. So last battle for Ubers, most likely, like I said, I'm going to see what I feel like playing, or if I feel like playing. I probably will at some point feel like getting some battles in, but we'll see what tier it is. Might go back to UU for a while. I doubt I'll play OU, just not really feeling it, so it'll probably be either more Ubers or some UU next week. We'll find out. That's going to do it for this week, though. Thumbs up if you liked the battle. Feel free to leave a comment. Check out the links in the description, and as always, I'll have more coming your way shortly. Later, guys.